Chosen one, have you ever stopped to question the thoughts that constantly race through your mind? The very thoughts that, without your conscious awareness, dictate how you feel, how you react, and how you experience the world around you. What if I told you that the biggest obstacle standing between you and your true potential, your peace, and your happiness is you? It's not the world, it's not the people around you, and it's not even your circumstances. It's the endless stream of internal chatter, the voice inside your head that tells you who you are, what you can or can't do, and what the world is like. And the worst part is, many of you have unknowingly identified with this voice, believing that this inner dialogue is you. But I'm here to tell you, it's not. It never has been, and it never will be. Your true essence is far greater than the noise in your mind. And to truly break free, to step into the power of your highest self, you must first stop talking to yourself. This is not a call to silence the mind completely. Such a thing is impossible. This is about recognizing that you are not your thoughts. They are simply mental events passing through your awareness. And when you learn to witness them without getting caught up in them, everything changes. So take a moment, breathe deeply, and reflect. How much of your mental energy is spent in internal dialogue that causes you distress, doubt, or fear? Are you ready to free yourself from this endless mental prison? If you resonate with this, drop a 77 in the comments. This is your first step toward breaking free from the noise. Together, let's embark on this journey of self-liberation. The power of your inner voice. The voice inside your head can be both a guide and a prison. It's the very voice that constantly evaluates, judges, and reacts to everything happening in your life. But what many fail to realize is that this inner voice is not as objective as it seems. It's a product of your past experiences, your learned beliefs, and your accumulated fears. It reflects what you've been conditioned to believe about yourself and the world. And often, this voice speaks with a tone of doubt, fear, and negativity, reinforcing beliefs that keep you trapped in cycles of unhappiness. What you might not fully grasp yet is that this inner dialogue has a direct impact on the reality you experience. The mind, if left unchecked, becomes the lens through which you perceive everything. It distorts your sense of self, it amplifies your fears, and it builds barriers that weren't there to begin with. You may find yourself reliving past mistakes or worrying endlessly about the future. In both cases, your mind traps you in scenarios that don't even exist in the present moment. In doing so, it takes away your ability to fully engage with the now. And this is where true suffering begins. The mind, unchecked, manufactures problems that don't exist. It amplifies fears that are merely thoughts and not truths. It holds you captive in a loop of overthinking and rumination. But here's the truth you must understand. You are not your thoughts. You are not the constant commentary that fills your mind. This is a vital realization. The moment you step back from your thoughts and recognize that you don't have to identify with them, you begin to break free from their hold. Your thoughts may appear powerful, but you possess an even greater power, the power of awareness. The power to step out of the cycle of thinking and simply be. To recognize that your thoughts are not facts, but fleeting experiences that come and go. When you begin to question the validity of the voice inside your head, you start to break its chains and gain a deeper connection to the present moment. This is where peace lives. The illusion of thinking, breaking free from mental chains. Most of us are taught that thinking is essential to being human, that without constant mental activity, we cannot function. But in reality, this belief is one of the greatest illusions of the mind. While the mind is indeed a powerful tool, it is not meant to run on autopilot, perpetually churning through thoughts without intention or purpose. When we allow the mind to dominate our experience, it becomes a prison, filled with uninvited guests, anxiety, fear, regret, judgment, all swirling around like chaotic storms. We think we need this noise. We believe that our thoughts are necessary to navigate life, to solve problems, to plan for the future. But what if I told you that most of the mental noise you experience is completely unnecessary? The mind's job is to help us solve problems and make decisions, yes. But it is not meant to be a constant, never-ending force that dictates our emotional state. The mind, unchecked, causes more harm than good. It creates problems where none exist. It keeps you trapped in fear in the past, in worry about the future. And all of this happens without your conscious participation. It's automatic. It's involuntary. This is where the majority of our unhappiness lies, not in the actual situations we face, but in the way our minds react to those situations. When we are constantly lost in thought, we miss out on life. We become disconnected from the present moment, the only true reality. It's in this disconnection that stress, anxiety, and suffering thrive. But here's the truth. You don't have to think endlessly. You don't have to let your thoughts control you. When you become aware of the constant chatter, you can choose to step back, to observe rather than identify. You can learn to take control of the mind, instead of letting the mind control you. This is where true freedom begins. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you start living in alignment with your deeper self, your essence. This practice of stepping back from the mental noise is not about shutting the mind down, but about reclaiming your power over it. When you observe your thoughts without attachment, you begin to dissolve the barriers that keep you from experiencing true peace and joy. The art of detaching from your thoughts. Many people believe that in order to find peace, they must rid themselves of all thoughts. But this is an unrealistic goal. Thoughts are a natural part of being human. They arise uninvited, like clouds drifting across the sky. What truly matters is not eliminating thoughts, but learning to relate to them in a healthier, more empowering way. This is where the practice of detachment comes in. Detachment doesn't mean you stop thinking altogether or suppress your thoughts. It simply means you stop identifying with them. The moment you stop clinging to a thought, you stop giving it power over you. When you identify with your thoughts, you create a false sense of self, one that is deeply rooted in the stories, judgments, and fears your mind continuously feeds you. But you are not these thoughts. You are the observer of them, the consciousness in which they arise. The key to detaching from your thoughts is to become aware of them without reacting to them. You begin by noticing when a thought arises, observing it without judgment, and allowing it to pass by like a cloud drifting across the sky. This practice allows you to create space between your true self and the thought that arises in your mind. You are not your thoughts, but the awareness behind them. This detachment creates inner stillness. In this stillness, you can experience the present moment with clarity and peace, without the noise of constant mental chatter. The practice of detachment gives you the power to choose how you respond to your thoughts, rather than being at their mercy. It allows you to observe them with curiosity, instead of allowing them to dictate your emotional state. As you practice this, you'll begin to realize that your thoughts don't define you. They are simply mental events passing through your mind, and the more you can detach from them, the more freedom and peace you will experience. Detachment is not about rejecting thoughts, but about recognizing that you do not have to be ruled by them. You are the space in which thoughts arise, and you have the power to choose which thoughts you align with and which ones you let go. Living beyond the mind, finding stillness in the present moment. The present moment is all we ever truly have. It is the only place where life exists. Everything else, whether past or future, is just a mental construct. Yet, how often do we find ourselves lost in thought, replaying past events or worrying about what may come? In doing so, we miss out on the richness of life that is unfolding right before us. The mind is a tool, a wonderful tool, but it is not meant to rule our lives. When we allow the mind to dominate, we are constantly either trapped in the past or lost in the future, never fully present with the reality of now. The present moment is the gateway to true peace. It is the space where life is lived, not in thought, not in the mind, but in the pure experience of being. But to access this moment, we must break free from the distractions of the mind. We must stop clinging to the past and fearing the future. The key to living beyond the mind is awareness. Awareness allows us to observe our thoughts without becoming lost in them. It brings us back to the present moment again and again. Awareness allows us to experience life with depth and meaning, rather than living in a mental fog. It is in the present moment that we can truly experience joy, gratitude, and love. The present is where our true power lies. When we are present, we are connected to the infinite wisdom that resides within us. We are aligned with our higher self, and our intuition can guide us with clarity and purpose. The more we practice presence, the more we begin to live a life of intention. We no longer live by default, reacting to every thought and emotion that arises. Instead, we consciously choose how to experience life. Living beyond the mind means releasing the need to constantly think, analyze, and judge. It means trusting in the flow of life, knowing that the present moment is enough. When we let go of the need for constant mental activity, we open ourselves up to the richness and beauty that life offers. We experience the world not through the lens of our thoughts, but through the lens of our being, awakening to the truth of who you are. In the pursuit of success, peace, and fulfillment, we often forget the most important truth. You are not your thoughts, your experiences, or even your identity. You are something deeper. You are the awareness behind your thoughts, the consciousness in which all experiences arise. The journey to spiritual awakening is not about adding anything to who you are, but about removing the layers that obscure your true essence. Every thought, every belief, every attachment we hold is a layer that clouds the purity of our being. We accumulate these layers over time, creating a false sense of self, a self that is defined by what we have experienced, what we have been told, and what we have come to believe. But the truth is, you are not this false self. You are the awareness in which all of these experiences and beliefs arise. And when you awaken to this truth, you step into your true power. Awakening to who you truly are requires you to go beyond the mind. It requires you to go beyond the stories, the labels, and the judgments that have been placed upon you. When you stop identifying with the mind, you begin to connect with something much deeper, a sense of inner knowing, a deep sense of peace, and a connection to the divine. This awakening is not an event that happens once. It is a continuous process of peeling back the layers of the false self to reveal the truth of who you are. It requires you to cultivate awareness, mindfulness, and presence. It requires you to detach from the mental chatter that has shaped your identity. And it requires you to trust that the truth is already within you, waiting to be realized. The more you awaken to the truth of who you are, the more you step into your power. You stop living as a victim of your thoughts, and you start living as the creator of your reality. You begin to experience life with clarity, purpose, and peace. Awakening to the truth of who you are is the key to living a life of fulfillment and joy. When you know who you truly are, you stop searching for answers outside of yourself. You realize that you are already whole, already complete, and already connected to the divine. And this knowing changes everything. The path to liberation, embracing silence and stillness. In the modern world, we are constantly surrounded by noise, both external and internal. Our minds are filled with endless chatter, our days are filled with distractions, and our lives are constantly in motion. But if we want to experience true freedom and peace, we must learn to embrace silence and stillness. Silence is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of awareness. Stillness is not the absence of activity, it is the presence of being. To experience liberation, we must create space in our lives for silence and stillness. This doesn't mean that we need to retreat from the world, live in isolation, or disconnect from everything around us. It means that we must create moments of quiet within ourselves, moments where we can simply be. These moments of silence and stillness are the key to reclaiming our power. When we are still, we are able to connect with our true essence. We are able to tap into the deeper wisdom within us, the wisdom that goes beyond the noise of the mind. Silence allows us to hear the whispers of our soul, guiding us toward truth, peace, and purpose. Stillness is the fertile ground in which creativity, insight, and spiritual growth can blossom. It is in these moments of quiet that we can experience deep inner peace, a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances, but is found in the stillness of our being. The path to liberation requires us to step out of the constant noise of the mind and into the quiet space of awareness. It requires us to stop reacting to every thought, every emotion, and every external distraction. And it requires us to trust that in the silence, we are not losing anything, but rather gaining everything. The more we embrace silence and stillness, the more we begin to experience life from a place of inner peace. We begin to live in alignment with our higher selves, and we experience a sense of freedom that is beyond words. This is the true path to liberation, to step out of the mental noise and into the stillness of the present moment, breaking free from the illusion of time. Time is a construct of the mind. It is an idea we've created to make sense of our experiences and organize our lives. But when we become too identified with time, we become enslaved by it. We start living in a constant rush, always anticipating the next moment, never truly experiencing the one we are in. We worry about the future and regret the past, all while missing the gift of the present moment. The truth is, the present is all we ever have. The past is gone, the future is unknown, and yet we continue to chase after both, as if they hold the key to our happiness. But when we let go of the illusion of time, we free ourselves from this endless cycle of worry and anticipation. In the present moment, there is no past or future. There is only now, and when we embrace the now, we begin to experience life in its fullest form. Time becomes irrelevant when we stop measuring it and start living in it. Every moment becomes an opportunity for awakening, for experiencing life as it is, without the distractions of what has been or what may come. The key to breaking free from the illusion of time is to embrace the present moment fully. This means releasing the need to constantly plan, analyze, and predict. It means trusting that everything is unfolding as it should, and that the present moment contains everything we need. When we live fully in the present, we are in a state of flow. We are no longer bogged down by the weight of past regrets or future fears. We are free to simply be, to experience, to feel, and to connect with life as it is. Time may be a construct, but the present moment is the gateway to true freedom. When we let go of time, we reclaim our power and discover that there is only now, and now is enough. The power of mindfulness, returning to the present moment. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment, without judgment or distraction. It is the art of observing life without trying to control it or change it. In today's world, where we are constantly bombarded with stimuli, distractions, and mental noise, mindfulness offers us a way to reconnect with ourselves and the present moment. Mindfulness teaches us that the present is all we have, and when we are fully engaged in it, we experience a profound sense of peace. When we practice mindfulness, we begin to notice the little things, the sensations in our body, the sounds around us, the breath moving in and out of our lungs. These simple acts of awareness bring us back to the present, to the only place where life truly exists. The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require anything other than your attention. You don't need to be in a special place or have a specific time set aside for practice. Mindfulness can be practiced anywhere, in any situation. Whether you're eating, walking, or simply sitting in silence, you can bring your full awareness to the present moment. The more you practice mindfulness, the more you begin to see how much of your life you've been missing. You start to realize how often you've been living on autopilot, consumed by thoughts of the past and future, and disconnected from the beauty of the present. As you become more mindful, you begin to experience life in a deeper way. You notice the richness and complexity of each moment, and you feel more alive and present. Mindfulness also helps you cultivate a sense of inner peace. When you are fully present, you are no longer caught up in the mental chatter that often causes anxiety and stress. You are able to observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them. This detachment allows you to experience the world without the filter of judgment or fear. The practice of mindfulness is one of the most powerful tools you can use to return to the present moment, to break free from the tyranny of the mind, and to reconnect with the deeper parts of yourself. It brings clarity, peace, and a sense of joy that is found in simply being. The spiritual power of silence. finding divine connection. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of God. It is in silence that we can hear the voice of our higher self, the whispers of the divine, and the deep wisdom that resides within us. In today's noisy world, we are often disconnected from this divine connection, overwhelmed by the constant chatter of our minds and the distractions of our external environment. But silence is the key to awakening to the deeper truths of life. When we create space for silence, we create space for the divine to speak to us. The more we embrace silence, the more we become attuned to the subtle whispers of our soul. In silence, we find clarity, peace, and guidance. We are no longer distracted by the noise of the world, but are able to hear the quiet, inner voice that always leads us toward truth. The power of silence lies in its ability to quiet the mind and open our hearts. It is in silence that we can drop into the present moment, fully and completely. Silence allows us to step out of the egoic mind, the mind that is constantly churning with thoughts, judgments, and opinions. When we enter silence, we step into the space of pure being, where we are no longer identified with our thoughts or emotions, but with the essence of who we truly are. Silence also brings us closer to the divine. Many spiritual traditions teach that God, Source, or the universe speaks in the language of silence. It is in moments of stillness that we can feel the presence of the divine in our lives, guiding us, comforting us, and showing us the way. The more we embrace silence, the more we connect with the sacredness of life. It is in silence that we find the answers to our deepest questions, and it is in silence that we are reminded of the eternal truth that we are one with the divine. To cultivate silence in your life, begin by creating moments of quiet throughout your day. It could be as simple as sitting in stillness for a few minutes, taking a quiet walk in nature, or practicing deep breathing. Allow yourself to embrace the silence, to feel its presence, and to listen to the wisdom that arises from within. The more you cultivate silence, the more you will experience the divine connection that is always available to you. The power of silence is profound. It brings peace, clarity, and divine guidance. In silence, we return to the truth of who we are. The importance of letting go, surrendering to life's flow. Surrender is one of the most powerful practices you can cultivate on your spiritual journey. It is the art of letting go of control and allowing life to unfold as it is meant to. We live in a world that encourages us to control, to plan, and to force outcomes. But the truth is, we cannot control everything, and often, the more we try to control, the more we create resistance and suffering. Surrendering is not about giving up or resigning to fate. It is about letting go of the need to control and trusting in the flow of life. When we surrender, we stop fighting against life's natural rhythms, and we begin to flow with them. Surrender allows us to release attachment to outcomes and to trust that whatever happens is for our highest good. It is the practice of letting go of the mental constructs, beliefs, and expectations that we hold about how life should be. When we surrender, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that life has to offer. We allow ourselves to be guided by a higher power, knowing that we are always supported and cared for. Surrendering does not mean that we give up our power. It means we align with our true power, the power of the present moment. When we surrender, we become more in tune with our intuition and inner wisdom. We begin to trust that life will unfold exactly as it should, and we no longer feel the need to control every aspect of our experience. Letting go of control opens up space for creativity, for flow, and for greater spiritual insight. When we stop trying to force outcomes and instead surrender to the present moment, we begin to experience life with ease and grace. Surrendering is a practice that requires faith and trust. It requires us to let go of the ego's need to plan and control, and instead trust in the flow of life. The more we surrender, the more we experience the peace and freedom that comes from trusting in the process of life. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. It is the strength to trust, to release, and to allow life to unfold with grace. Embracing your divine purpose. You are here for a reason. You are not just another person wandering through life. You are a divine being, a soul on a journey, and you have a purpose to fulfill. The challenges you face, the thoughts you battle, the struggles you endure, All of these are part of your journey toward awakening to your higher self. As a chosen one, you are being called to remember who you truly are and to live in alignment with your divine purpose. The key to unlocking your full potential is to embrace the truth of who you are and to trust in the flow of life. As you continue on this path of spiritual awakening, remember that you are not alone. The divine is always with you, guiding you, supporting you, and reminding you of your inner strength. You are capable of overcoming any obstacle, achieving any dream, and living a life of peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Embrace your divine purpose, and know that everything you need to fulfill it is already within you. Trust the process of life, let go of control, and step into the fullness of your being. The world is waiting for you to step into your power. It is time to shine. The journey is yours to walk, and the path is illuminated by your inner light. You are a chosen one. Step into that power, embrace your purpose, and live the life you were born to live.